Tonight, Jamaica yesterday reported 5 additional COVID-19 deaths, taking the total of fatalities to 480, while 419 new cases were recorded. Dr. Christopher Tufton has reported that 2,718 persons, or 83% of those targeted to be inoculated, received the COVID-19 vaccine on the first day.
At the close of the day's operations, we were 2,718, or 83% of the target population for day one.
Still tonight, police launch manhunt for escapee Ricardo Richards, and the Jamaica Association for the Deaf pioneers first Jamaican Sign Language Learning Management System, LMS. Good evening. Jamaica yesterday recorded 5 additional COVID-19 deaths, taking fatalities from the virus now to 480. The deceased are a 64-year-old woman from Manchester, a 56-year-old woman from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 61-year-old male from Hanover, a 41-year-old male from Westmoreland whose death was under investigation, an 84-year-old male from St. James whose death was under investigation as well, while one other fatality is being investigated. Meanwhile, there were 419 new cases recorded, ranging in age from 7 months to 98 years, taking the total to 29,387, with 13,763 active cases. Now, of the new cases, 239 are males and 180 are females. In the meantime, there were 132 additional recoveries, increasing that total to 14,912. Some 309 persons are in hospital, with 14 moderately ill and 43 critically ill. In the meantime, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says 99% of deaths that are linked to COVID-19 are of those persons who suffer from one or more comorbidities.
99% of our deaths in this COVID-related deaths, are persons who have had at least 2 comorbidities, 1 or 2 or more comorbidities. Hypertension, renal failure or diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all of these have contributed to weakening your immune system and your ability to resist or to fight back the COVID-19 virus. And most of these persons are over 60, but there are a number of them that are below 60. And what it says to us as a country, with 70% of our deaths linked to lifestyle diseases, is that we have to get back to not just clinical science, but behavioral science to drive behavior more towards healthy living and healthy lifestyle. A narrative that's often ignored, but so absolutely critical in moving forward, and is reflected again in the COVID numbers.
Now, Dr. Tufton, in urging persons to adhere to the COVID-19 protocols, addressed the significant increase in the virus-related deaths, especially 12 in one day.
And today is a sad milestone in that we have had to report the largest number of COVID-related deaths in one day, 12. It's a sad milestone because every death is regrettable, but having the highest over the last 12 months related to COVID is regrettable. It's sad. It's unfortunate. But the relationship between number of cases, number of hospitalizations, and number of deaths cannot and should not be ignored. And what we therefore need to do is to observe the protocols, take special care to bring those numbers down. And that's what the government policy is all about.
In related news, Dr. Tufton has reported that 2,718 persons, or 83% of those targeted to be inoculated with the COVID-19 vaccine on the first day of activating the COVID-19 vaccine implementation program on March 10, received the vaccine.
A real significant occurrence, and coincidentally so, but nevertheless, tells a story. 1 year we have been at it, and we are now embracing vaccines as an important part of the response to COVID. We had 39 vaccination sites across the island. Our original target, and I know we have said a few different numbers over the last day or half a day, because the numbers took a little while to come in, and we crave your indulgence and your understanding if you heard 29 6 hours ago and you're now hearing 39. So we had 39 sites. 33 were originally planned, but for whatever reason, the regions adjusted. So we actually exceeded the number of sites that we had originally planned. The goal was to inoculate approximately 3,280 members of the priority group, which were, of course, healthcare workers primarily. We started at 8 a.m., ended in some instances at 10 p.m., and at the close of the day's operations, we were 2,718, or 83% of the target population for day one. I think that's a good achievement. It's a commendable achievement, even that this is the start of a national process, and in a sense, it was a trial run, if you will, or a real run. And we really started in a manageable way to pick up any learning experiences. But 83% we thought was good. Now, the numbers will go up when we get the numbers for the JDF. My understanding is that it will go up to about 89% or close to that. We don't have the final numbers as yet, but the JDF was in fact administering their own vaccines. They have a medical unit there.
Now, Dr. Tufton, who was speaking at the weekly COVID-19 Conversations virtual press briefing yesterday, said the Western region exceeded its target while other regions missed theirs.
Northeast region hit 99% of its target, 514 persons vaccinated. That's 6 persons short of the target for the day. The Southeast and Southern regions were short of target, 63%, or 1,208, and 64%, or 192 of those targets, respectively. We will adjust as we go. We will investigate to find out why those targets were not met, make necessary adjustments where necessary, but it's an ongoing process. So, and of course, set more ambitious targets in the cases where the targets were far superseded. The majority of the sites were hospitals and health centers, and 3 of the 4 regional health authorities exceeded their targets for the number of vaccine sites that were to be open on day one. And our aim in the next 7 days is to inoculate some 17,000 persons over the next 7 days. So we're targeting 17,000, continuing with our priority groups, healthcare workers first, and depending on how far we get in that group, then we move to the uniform officers of the constabulary and the JDF, which has already started.
And Dr. Christopher Tufton visited vaccination sites in Western Jamaica today in efforts to assess the progress of the vaccination program. Our news team caught up with Dr. Tufton at the Comprehensive Clinic in Montego Bay, St. James. There he urged all the frontline workers to continue the enthusiasm and determination they are showing towards vaccination.
In the West here, it has been good in that the targets that we have set at our respective hospitals have been met for the first 2 days. In fact, I'm looking at the numbers and I see where Western Region on the 10th of March had a 530 target. They did 804 inoculations, vaccination. Yesterday, the 11th, they had a 410 target. They did 500. which means that they are running at about 130+% above their target. Now, it may mean that the targets were too conservative, but nevertheless, it's a celebration worth recognizing, or achievement worth recognizing, because they have in fact gone beyond that. We have to continue this thrust, continue the energy. I sense a lot of motivation. I sense that the team are into what they're doing. They recognize the importance of it. This is a national thrust, national mobilization, and they have to be the ones to start to send that signal of energy, importance, motivation. So I'm very happy that with what I see, and the level of organization seems very good. There's a process flow that was outlined that they are following. The counseling, the registration, the counseling, getting the vaccine, the observation, and then the work on setting the next appointment. And all the sites I've been to, including in Falmouth and now here in St. James at the comprehensive clinic, have been followed. So I'm pleased, having now gone into the third day.
Dr. Tufton also pointed out that securing our frontline workers will give them greater enthusiasm to continue the fight against the pandemic.
Still early days, we have a very long road to travel, but if we can secure our frontline workers by vaccinating them against the virus, they will work with greater enthusiasm, and their families and the country can depend more on them to deliver for the people of Jamaica. So I am comfortable. Now, the next step, and a concurrent step in some cases, will be the 60-year-olds and over. And as you can see, a few of those persons are also benefiting now from the vaccine. Those are important because if you look at the record of hospitalization, if you look at the record of deaths from COVID-19, the 60-year-olds and over with comorbidities represent 90+% of deaths. And so it is impatient of debate why they should get some priority. Now what we have to ensure is that they come out once the vaccines are available, and there's a network and a mobilization effort that is going to do that.
We also spoke with Joan, who gave us her experience of being inoculated.
I thought it would hurt more, but it's just a single joke. Yes, and it's okay. Because, I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to stay out here and say we are not going to take it, and then each day you find 12 or 5 or 6 people dying. So it's best for them to come and take it.
So you are encouraging everybody to come and take it?
Yes, everyone.
Continuing with the news tonight, 42-year-old Stephen Witter, who was arrested and charged by members of the St. Andrew North Division for several breaches, was convicted today when he appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. Witter, who was seen on viral videos, was arrested on Monday, March 8 and subsequently charged. His sentencing is as follows. Breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act, $10,000 or 30 days. Resisting arrest, $2,000 or 10 days. Disorderly conduct, $1,000 or 10 days. Indecent language, $1,000 or 10 days. Obstructing police, $2,000 or 10 days. Assaulting a police officer, $10,000 or 10 days. In total, Witter was fined $26,000 or a sentence of 80 days in jail. He is to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court on March 30 to answer to additional charges laid against him in that division. Still tonight, the police are seeking the public's assistance in locating this man who has been identified as Ricardo Richards, otherwise called Kaka, a prisoner. He reportedly disarmed a policeman of his firearm, shooting him before escaping at the National Chest Hospital. The incident occurred after he was taken to the facility for treatment. Richards was already in custody on murder, shooting, and other gun-related charges. Now, police say the injured policeman is currently receiving emergency treatment. The police are asking the public to contact Police 119 if anyone has seen this man. Also, the public should be aware that Richards is considered armed and dangerous.
Well, at this time, the search continues for Ricardo Richards, O.C. Kaka, Contrary to reports and images that have been circulating on social media, he has not been recaptured and he has not been killed by the police. Those reports have been circulating and they are untrue. At this time, we continue to seek the public's assistance in trying to recapture him and bring him to justice. We would like to do so in the soonest possible time. So anyone with any information that can help our investigations, we would appreciate it if you shared that information with us.
In news from St. Anne, the police have listed 2 men as persons of interest in several criminal investigations that are currently taking place in the police division. The police are also asking both men to report to the St. Anne's Bay Police Station by the end of the day. The persons of interest are 20-year-old Winston Pinnock Parks of 3 Hills, St. Mary, and 26-year-old Mario Coot of Rocky Hill, Golden Grove in the parish. The police are also asking members of the public that have information regarding the whereabouts of these men to contact the St. Anne's Bay Police Station at 876-972-2209 or 876-972-2211 or the nearest police station. Still making Mello TV news, the police are probing an incident involving one of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company's units in which a cyclist was hit and injured along the Hagley Park and Waltham Park Road intersection in St. Andrew yesterday. Now, it is understood that the incident occurred at approximately 11:25 a.m. The details of the incident are not yet known, but investigations have been launched by the police and the accident department of the company. The cyclist was taken to the hospital where he underwent emergency surgery. Meanwhile, the driver of the bus, who fainted at the scene, was also taken to the hospital. Mr. Cecil Toms, Corporate Communications Manager at JUTC, said today that the injured cyclist is out of surgery and the driver of the bus will also be provided with counseling.
What I can tell you is that the cyclist is out of surgery. He had surgery yesterday, but he's still in critical condition. We're hoping for the best and that he makes a full recovery. The matter is under active investigation by the police and our accident department. And our driver, naturally, is traumatized by the incident and will be provided with counseling shortly.
Still tonight, the government is to change the due date for income tax payments for a year of assessment from March 15 of the following year until April 15 of the following year. During his presentation on the 2021 to 2022 budget on Tuesday, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, said that this is to advise that the intended adjustment is to be effected across fiscal years 2022 to 2023 and 2023 to 2024 after the relevant legislation has been amended. Now, this means the income tax that would be under the current system due on March 15, 2023 will be adjusted to a due date of April 15, 2023. Now, having the due date fall in the first month of the fiscal year as opposed to the last month of the fiscal year as currently obtained will improve the government's ability to effectively manage its fiscal operations. He also said that the indicated adjustment will not affect the current payments that are due on Monday, March 15, 2021. Taxpayers are therefore being encouraged to ensure that payments in respect of the year of assessment just concluded are made by Monday, March 15, 2021. The Minister of Finance and the Public Service also stated that the due date to file income tax returns for the year of assessment just concluded has been extended to March 31, 2021. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with news of the removal of the customs administrative fee on exports valued at less than US $500 and the Jamaica Association for the Deaf pioneers first Jamaican Sign Language learning management system. But first, we'll take a break and then it's over to Christopher Scott with the latest in sports.